No, I had no idea.
Welcome to Thunder Nerds. I'm Brian Hinton.
And I'm Frederick Philip Von Weiss, and thank you for consuming the Thunder Nerds, a conversation with the people behind the technology that love what they do.
And do tech good.
Doing tech. Brian, where the heck are we?
We're in Fort Lauderdale, Florida for the UX+DEV Summit.
UX+DEV Summit.
Yeah.
How many years have they been doing that, Brian?
300.
300. Subtract 297. So this is a third year of the UX+DEV Summit, and we are very happy and proud to be here, honored and all that. Yeah, it's super great show. 4 days of workshops and 1 day of speakers, and it is an incredible festival. A lot of immersive talks. You should be here.
Yeah, and next year it's going to apparently be in February, so keep an eye out on it and keep February free and come.
Yeah. And speaking of guests, we have an amazing guest today. We have Ivan Rus. Hey, how about that? Did I roll the all right?
Yes.
Damn, I'm good. Yeah.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being on. Really appreciate it, man. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so let's go ahead and get to know you a little bit. So what do you do?
I'm an iOS developer. I work as an iOS developer at Chewy.
Okay.
I'm also
and
I like that mix and that convergence between design and engineering.
Yeah.
Nice. So are you Swift or are you
Swift? Yeah.
Right on. Yeah,
okay.
and Chewy I met at the DevFest in Florida. DevFest Florida.
Yeah, definitely.
I met a Chewy rep that was there and had no idea it existed before I met them, and now I use it. I get monthly subscription for 2 types of dog food for my puppy and for our adult dog, and it's awesome because it just comes to the door, really great price, like $10 per bag cheaper than buying it in the store. So.
Awesome.
Chewy good.
Do you use the iPhone app or?
Actually, yes, I have it, but I initially made my purchase on the website. So I have the app though, so I can make adjustments, and that's nice.
Now you can favorite products. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen that, and when you favorite product, there's a heart, and when you tap it, there's an explosion of hearts.
Yeah.
I did
I'm gonna check that.
Nice. That was you?
Yeah, that was it.
Oh, love that.
Nice.
That's cool. So how long have you been with them?
Since November last year.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Very
cool company.
On what? I'm sorry?
A very cool company.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Yeah, I really want to use this app just for that heart thing.
They'll do user research on you. They'll be like, man, he liked everything.
Everything. I just like the hearts. So what's your day-to-day like there?
There's a pretty sizable team, and different people get to work in different things. And you get assigned a ticket and you work on certain features, but I always gravitate towards job that has to do with design or with user interface. So I always try to either volunteer for those or get assigned because they know me already.
Oh, that's cool. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and jump a little bit into your talk. So your talk was what?
So it was a talk about how to improve collaboration between designers and engineers. I call it, I think I have to read the description.
I will read it for you. It is
go ahead.
Designers and engineers, how to improve trust, collaboration, and fidelity.
There you go.
Being on both sides yourself, was that kind of both sides of your brain communicating to create this talk?
I think in fact, I think it formed me to have this talk and talk to both the designers on one side and developers on the other, to show them that it's not our crafts are not that different.
Right. Yeah.
And I talk about designing systems and creating. We both do that. Designers and developers both build systems in different ways with the same goal, right? So it makes sense that. Not just that if our crafts are so similar and we have the same goal, that we should work together more.
Let me ask you this question. So the title here, how to improve trust, kind of communicates that there might be a lack of trust. Where does this lack of trust come from?
I think it's because of that. On the one hand, it's because I think there's socially we have created this divide between designers and developers.
Yeah.
And apply these associative norms into a specific profile of a person. Like, I say in my talk that engineers are these introverts and hackers, and they don't care about design or colors, and designers are artsy people.
And that's not really true.
And I don't think that's the case. I think a designer can know very technical what's built, and I think that engineers can or should know about typography and colors.
Absolutely,
right?
We had a big podcast all about how, because there's so many episodes of podcasts where they said, should designers know how to code? And we had one that should developers know how to design?
Yeah.
And I think to your point is yes, is they should know a little bit about that. And everybody should know, like, even if you are a designer, you should know a little bit about coding and vice versa.
Yeah, I would say it's about taking ownership.
Right. Yeah. It helps inform also and be able to be a better colleague to your teammates.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But also I wanted to add not just that idea, but also I think it's very, I think it prevents personal growth, having these preconceptions.
Yeah.
And it also is exclusive, right? If you're a woman, you can't be a developer because you know, this is the role is typically for a man. Like, no. I think anybody can be anything. You don't have to be you don't have to fit to a specific type of person.
Yeah.
You can be an introvert and be a designer. You can be an extrovert, be an engineer. You know, there's
there's so many of these kind of social misconceptions out there, and these kind of cliche thoughts of who's this and who's that, and even just those definitions of the hipster designer with the black frame. Geez, I can't talk. With the black frame glasses, or the goofy programmer that wears a shirt of himself. You know.
Oh wait.
And it's okay to be that, you know. But
no.
What
You're
I mean
just
is, like,
jealous your face isn't on a shirt.
I am a little bit. I'll be honest.
What I mean is, like, you should be free to be whoever you are.
Yeah.
And nobody should, you know, diminishes you because you are different and doing a certain job.
Yeah.
It's a job, you know.
Exactly. It's a job. It's nothing to take too serious.
And nothing that prevents you, whoever you are, to be whatever you want to be.
Well said. Yeah.
Banana.
Conversation earlier today with Painter with Burnham Painter.
Yes.
And he was talking about there's two different kinds of people, or he was quoting one of his friends that's saying there's two different kinds of people. There are, and I'll explain the differences because you're going to look at me funny when I say it, that there are peaches and there are coconuts. And the coconuts are the people that have that rough outer shell that are really
hard to get.
Yeah, really hard to get, but really sweet in the center. And peaches are
exact opposite. They're fuzzy and soft on the outside, but then on the inside they're very hard and you can't really. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And then he said I was
peach.
a banana, which I have no idea what that means.
Neither do I, but it makes sense.
Okay. But I really like that analogy. It's interesting. I wouldn't say everyone fits into those two categories, but it's a very interesting concept, a way of like thinking and associating.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So what are some of the actionable takeaways from your talk?
So one of the main topics that I talked about is how a design system can help both designers and engineers, and how there's a very good correlation. Like, I'm an iOS developer, so my talk was centered around iOS.
Yeah.
So typically Xcode and Sketch. And I think that in Sketch there are these things called symbols. And symbols have a very good relationship to classes or UI code, right?
Yeah.
So you can create a symbol in Sketch and make a correlation to a specific class where you make that happen or work, and then you can reuse that piece of code the same way that you can reuse the same symbol in Sketch. And if you, both designers and engineers, maintain that one-to-one relationship, you both can build on the same system without having to work in separate ways.
Right. Yeah.
And sort of force on each other that collaboration, right? Because now, if we have to modify that element, not only it needs to be modified on the Sketch side, but also on the code side.
Yeah, I love how a good chunk of our communication, the talks here, have all been about design systems and developers and designers working together. I mean, I looked up the name because I couldn't remember. Marcelo Paiva had a very similar talk, but his was about actually taking Sketch and having it output to React, and basically it would create the design system. So we definitely see that's everyone seems to be going down that same direction, that hey, this just makes sense, like developers and designers should work together.
Right.
And yeah, it's incredible. So you're not originally from this area though?
Right, I'm originally from Spain.
Spain. When did you live here now?
Yeah, I live here. I moved here, I think it's over 10 years ago now.
Oh, wow. Cool.
It's been a while.
How do you like it?
I love it.
You're in Fort Lauderdale though?
I'm in Miami.
Miami? Oh, okay.
So
you're
in Miami.
You commute.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I live in Kendall specifically.
Kendall. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I spent a lot of time in Kendall. My wife is actually from Dade.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. So did Chewy move you over here, or
no? I was living here already.
Okay. So how did you originally come to be in the area?
Basically, my wife. I was living in Barcelona at that time.
Uh-huh.
And not where my family's originally from, but I lived in Barcelona for a few years. And she was traveling around Europe, and we met up there, and then we hit it off, and we started jumping back and forth, what we call the Atlantic. In Spanish we call it el charco, the little puddle. I think that's the translation.
I like that.
I like that.
And
it's not so little of a puddle though.
no, it's not. We lived in Barcelona for a couple of years, and then we eventually moved to New York. We were there for less than a year, and then we moved down to Miami. And man, I love this weather.
Why does everyone like the heat?
Grass is always greener. What's the weather like in Spain?
So I think it's similar to California in the sense that we have all 4 seasons, and they're not extreme seasons. So it's not like New York or Boston where it's really, really, really cold and then really hot. I think it gets cold and it gets hot, but it's not that extreme. But I don't do good with cold. In fact, right now my hands are cold.
Wow.
That's so funny.
Every time I go to a public place here, like a movie theater or whatever,
wearing gloves?
I have to wear something. Because otherwise I just freeze.
We Floridians do that because it's so hot outside. That's how we cool off and dry off from the sweating and the humid marshy bog that is Florida.
I can take that sweat all day over the cold.
You can warm up in the cold.
I couldn't when I lived in Spain, man. On winter my feet and hands were always cold.
Really?
It was. I hated it.
Huh. That's fun. Yeah. So why were you moving around? Was it for work? Like where did you go from?
Because it's hard to decide where you want to move. Where you want to live.
Okay, she's just trying out there.
She lived here. I lived there, and so we sort of tried. Okay, let's try here now. See if it works out for both of us.
That's cool.
Is she in dev too, or
no? She's a psychologist.
Oh, okay.
Organizational psychology.
Nice. Cool. Do you have any kids or pets?
I have one kid. We have a 2-year-old Alex.
Oh,
congratulations!
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. I got a 3-year-old, so I know how that goes.
Yeah. It's been a ride. It's way harder than coding, I tell you that.
Yes, sir.
Well, you're at the 2s though. I feel like 3s is everyone says terrible 2s, but I felt with my
terrible 2s.
3, so it was worse for me.
Oh, really? The 2s was way worse. Once we got over that and on the 3s, it was like, the 2s. Ooh. Yeah, the fits.
Has he started doing the, what is that?
Yes. He just started that.
What is that?
We expected him in Spanish. So like, papi, ¿qué es eso? And they started, man. But I don't mind it. I don't mind that.
Cute.
So far. Because he just started. Maybe ask me in 6 months and maybe I'll just stop it.
It just gets cuter. It's awesome.
I don't know. After a point, like on road trips, it becomes no longer cute. Like when he's looking out the window, he's like, "Why is the sky blue? Why is it?" Like he was straight up like that. Like everything that passed by is like, "Why is that? What is that?" It was cute, but I still look back on it fondly. But in the moment when you're driving, it does get. You gotta be realistic.
After a couple hours, I get to guess.
So you said your wife's a psychologist. You ended up eventually here in Miami. Did you move here for work, or did you move here for just to like try out the area? And then...
When we were in New York at the time before we moved here, and my mom's wife was living here, so it was
it
was a lot easier to get started. I was also in the process of getting my visa. It was a lot easier to start, with family rather than being by ourselves in.
Definitely.
Very expensive city. Again, super cold.
So you were in there in the winter. So you had like one winter and you're like, no, thank you.
we actually came down to visit her on October. And
you're
I was like,
ooh.
Yeah, I can get used to this. We should do this. I really love New York. I love that city a lot. But the weather, no.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Now, is Chewy, everyone is local in office, or do you have remote people? Or
I think mostly in the office, yes.
Yeah.
I believe there's one guy in the Android team that is remote, but I think everyone is local.
Awesome. And how long have you been with them?
Since November last year.
Okay, so you got we got a few more months till you're a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like almost halfway.
Yeah, pretty close.
Why Miami? Because family there?
So
I think that's direction.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of warm places here.
Yeah.
Why specifically Miami?
Do you mean versus Fort Lauderdale or?
No, versus anywhere in Florida.
I like Miami a lot, and I like, I'm originally from Spain. Not that there are many Spaniards in the area. There are a few, but at least I feel a little bit more like at home. So many Hispanics and Latinos.
Cubans.
So the culture and there's a lot of Cubans, of course, and I guess Cubans because of our historical situation.
You weren't around, so
yeah, nothing to do with me. But we share a lot of history together, and so there's a familiarity there with the Cuban culture.
I'm sure the language too, because they can to extent. I know it's different.
They use a lot of words that we use, and like one of those funny things. I talk about communication in my talk and how it's important to use the same words to be able to refer to things and not get confused.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think it still happens. I still say words that my wife doesn't understand what I mean, and
is she
vice
Cuban?
versa.
She's
no, Colombian.
Colombian. Okay.
And so it happens all the time. We speak the same language, and sometimes it feels like we don't at all.
It's
not funny.
It's so interesting.
Yeah. We have Spanish. We have the most different dialect of all the Spanish speaking. Yeah. I think it's much more different because I guess probably we're more isolated.
Yeah. Well, yeah. There's oceans.
The other
yeah. And because I'm then all South America and Mexico, they kind of interconnect and talk to each other all the time. And
there's more
cross borders, so there's more cross pollination of the language. But any final? We're getting near the end here. Any final thoughts regarding your talk or in general that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Yeah, floor is yours. Any kind of.
I think it was great that they gave me the chance. Like this was my first doing a tech conference talk.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Good
job.
Yeah.
And so I think this is amazing to give opportunity to people that have never done this before. And
how was it? Did you enjoy the experience?
Yeah, it was.
Again?
Yes, for sure, I will do it. And it's something that I've thought about before, but I never really looked to do it.
Yeah.
A friend of mine was also going to the talk, and he told me about it, and I was like, hey, why don't I try? And I went to the website, and I was like, hey, they already know that I'm not gonna do it. They can only tell me yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So I put on my name, and they said Lewis, and so I think that's so cool. I think it's amazing.
Were you like, uh-oh?
Also.
Yeah. Oh shit, I got to do that.
Yeah. But I do that all the time.
Yeah.
I always say, no, I'm doing too many things. I need to chill and put the brakes on it.
Yeah. Did you have a talk already? When they said, or did you just have an idea of the talk?
So this topic of collaboration is something that it's always been in my mind, and and we're going through some stuff at Chewy, some new work that we're doing.
Yeah.
That is it's requiring some rethought of the way we work. And
ooh, sounds interesting.
Yeah,
it does sound interesting.
So this is a topic that is always on my mind, and I've been wanting to implement a system like this for the longest time. So again, it's maybe a talk that I've been thinking about for 3 years. And so I had something in mind. I also had a different topic, but I thought this was a better topic. So I'm really glad that they allowed me to talk, and it's been a great experience. I think it was like about 15 people in my talk. So I don't know, on and all, I'm very, very happy with how it came out.
That's good though. I mean, for first one, if
Yeah.
you came out and there's like 500 people out there, you'd be like, okay.
Slightly
You're all in your underwear.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind so much like if there's 15 or 1,500.
Really?
Yeah.
1,500? Okay.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe when I'm in front of
say that.
But I know when I'm ready, and I know when I'm not, and I think I was sort of ready, and so I don't mind so much if I would have gotten 50 or not. Also, before all this, back in Spain, I was a DJ. So
so you used to being in front of people.
I'm very used to in front of people and performing, so that's not so much of a problem for me.
Oh, okay.
What type of music?
So it was mainly hip hop, but I always try to mix other kinds of genres that are like similar or stem from it.
Okay.
So yeah.
Do you have any mixes or anything online?
Yeah, I have on my website all music.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, how can people
reach
out to you?
Ivan, Ivan, C as in Charlie, R as in Rome.com.
Right.
And like the very first landing page is like my designer or developer work portfolio. But then there's a media section, and you can see like music that I've done and like
video recordings,
some video stuff that I've done.
All right.
Oh, come on. It has to be out there. If someone has a video of him DJ,
send us a link. We'll put it on here.
Yeah. In fact, I want to discover also or uncover that I was also a breakdancer.
Nice.
There isn't videos on it.
You're the second breakdancer we've had on the show.
Yeah.
Scott Polinsky.
Yes.
Shout out, Scott.
Yes.
Hope you're feeling better.
Yeah. Awesome. Any other handles, like Twitter handle or anything else?
I'm a very active Twitter user. That's my only social media. I don't have Facebook or Instagram or any of that. So @ _IVANCR. So the same Ivan CR, but with an underscore previous.
Awesome.
Excellent. Oh, hey, man, thanks so much for being on the show. Really appreciate it.
Fantastic talking with you.
Yeah, and stay tuned. We got more coming up, guys. Toodles.